great architect of the universe, source of all light and giver of all good graces. Be with us now as we remember the true purpose of our fraternity. Grant us health, peace, and wisdom of our days may be long and fruitful. Let us remember the lessons and sacrifices of those who have gone before us, so that we may, by their examples, better our own lives, those of our fellow men. To the glory of thine ineffable name, amen.
So
mote it be.
Spring is a time of beginning, but also of remembrance. As nature offers gifts of renewal following the dead of winter, she reminds us that she is immortal, and that from apparent death springs life eternal.
Wherever they may be, the night's rose croy form a great circle, which encompasses the past as well as the present. The same vows and duties that bind us to each other bind us to our ancestors, for we have received our inheritance through them. This fraternal chain, called the mystic circle, is forged of links which pass into eternity. It becomes our duty, therefore, to honor our brethren past as we renew our fraternal ties to our brethren present. Remember always that perfect love knows no death, and that what virtue unites, death cannot separate.
My brethren, let us now recall by name those of our number who in the past year have completed their labors. Brother Secretary, you will take up the mystic scroll and read aloud the names of our brethren who are recently deceased.
Brethren, attend. Record here, as in our hearts and memories, are the names of our honored dead. We shall miss them. Gordon Lee Flynn, 32nd degree. Sherman Wayne Anderton, 32nd degree. David McCall Andrus, 32nd degree. James Henry Taylor, 32nd degree. William Howard Chambly, 14th degree. Robert Wayne Moore, 32nd degree. Roderick Salser, 32nd degree. John Jackson Weeks, 32nd degree. Quinman Pierce Coleman, 32nd degree. Dan Edgar Douglas, 32nd degree. Noah Haywood Flanagan, 32nd degree. Paul Franklin Garrison, 32nd degree. Robert Charles Heimer, 32nd degree. Sammy Madison Stabler, 32nd degree. James Edward Merriman, 32nd degree. Billy Walton Jones, 32nd degree. Robert Laverne Rutherford, 32nd degree. Willard Edward Strange, 32nd degree. Donnie Douglas Todd Sr., 32nd degree. Charles Corley Rowe, 32nd degree. Evan M. Terry, 32nd degree. Alton F. Hunt, 32nd degree. Wise Master, these brethren and fellow knights are no more.
Be not sad, my brethren, but let us rejoice that these men lived, that we knew them, and that they were one with us in the mystic bond of Freemasonry. Let us celebrate their lives by making the best of their examples. Amen.
So mote it be.
When the great architect created the heavens and the earth, there was darkness, and he alone was the one true light. But he was pleased to place lights in the sky, that his creatures might both live and see. Even so, throughout history, men have appeared to dispel the darkness of fanaticism and superstition with the light of truth. Whether poet, religious leader, scientist, or social reformer, all who sought to elevate humankind brought with them the light of truth. But the people, often blinded by vices, put them to death. Their pure and lofty lessons were intended to ensure the happiness of mankind by proclaiming perfect equality and freedom, but the people knew them not, and put them to death. They came to persuade all men to be upright and to become one family of brethren, but the people knew them not, and put them to death. They endeavored to illuminate the mind with science, philosophy, and knowledge, but the people knew them not, and put them to death. They came to lead mankind through the darkness of the night of ignorance, by proclaiming that the immortal part of man is a ray of the divine light, but the people knew them not, and put them to death. They came to ensure that mankind was protected from brutality, and that individual liberty was to be preserved, but the people knew them not, and put them to death.
They came to teach charity and to put loving kindness in the place of greed, hatred, and persecution. But the people knew them not, and put them to death. In all ages, mankind has brutally murdered its liberators, reformers, and best exemplars. To us in this season, we need not to look no further than the apostle of liberty, equality, and fraternity, who was crucified 2,000 years ago for proclaiming the law of love. No greater law has been uttered than his simple words: love one another. At the very least, he was a great teacher of mankind, and whatever our private views may be beyond that, none can dispute the wisdom of the new law. The great architect mercifully hides from our vision what is to befall us in the future. We know not what tragedies await us on the morrow. For this reason, let us work while it is yet day, and let us endeavor to fulfill our duties and dispel the darkness which you see here represented. Let each of us bring light to the world by the practice of virtue, and let us labor for its own sake, knowing that he who sows does not always reap. But rest satisfied, my brethren and knights, that you labor not in vain, for if one life is benefited or improved by your own, you have done well. With whom do you stand, my brethren? Are there faces in your group which you will not see next year? Will you lay a friend or brother to rest? Let us henceforth celebrate the lives of our brethren who have passed on, keeping them ever with us while we live. Remember that no man is ever truly dead as long as he lives in the hearts and memories of his friends and loved ones. And if his influences continue to act for good, so may it be with each of you. Amen.
So mote it be.
Brethren and guests, we understand that light is the primary Masonic symbol because it reveals the world to us as it is. But light is more than a mere symbol, for life could not exist without it. We are taught that every man is a ray of the divine light, and that we are to be soldiers of the light, ever vigilant. And although the lights of liberty, equality, and fraternity have been extinguished from time to time upon the earth, yet man bears within his breast the spark which can ignite anew. Let there be light is both a divine command and a moral obligation. In humble commemoration of that august event, I now say, let there be light, even the light of truth. Equality and freedom are in the hearts of all who consider the just welfare of their neighbors. To deny a man these rights is to deny an instinct given by the great architect of the universe. So may the light of equality and freedom illuminate the world. To walk uprightly in our several stations before God and man is to make us one family of brethren. Every true man concerns himself with the welfare of both his family and humanity. So may the light of true fraternity illuminate the world. Man's unending quest to understand the nature of reality, to aid him in the search, he develops science and philosophy, which combat superstition and ignorance. So may the light of knowledge and wisdom illuminate the world. At some time in life, all men find themselves in need. To give to the less fortunate without the hope or expectation of recompense is the practice of charity. We are taught to have fervent charity, for charity shall cover the magnitude of sins. So may the light of charity illuminate the world. The purpose of true initiation is self-realization. Know thyself is at once the dictum of sages and the greeting placed above the doorways of ancient temples. When we realize who and what we are, we not only seek to improve our own lives, but also the lives of others. The great teachers of every age have proclaimed that the immortal part of man is a ray of the divine light, and that we are all children of the Most High. So may the light of self-realization illuminate the world. Protection from brutality and the exercise of individual liberty afford all other freedoms. To deny any man his individual rights merely because his practices differ from our own is to deny him the measure of his creation. Man has the right to live as he will, as long as he does not thwart the rights of others. So may the light of individual liberty illuminate the world. Brethren and guests, the word of life and regeneration is recovered, and the law of love lives. We are to proclaim it and to live it, so that we may be worthy of the titles and honors we bear. Let us forever unite to protect the rights of others, and thus of ourselves. When labors are to be placed upon your shoulders, let us remember those who sacrificed for us and did not shirk the call to duty. May liberty, equality, and fraternity reign supreme, and may the great architect grant that we meet again in this group next year, in the bonds of unity and peace. Amen.
So mote it be.